So today's complex environment and cyber threats. What does it mean? It means, we are bringing on devices, new devices. We have cloud computing intact. We have the social media. We have Internet of Things, and new technologies are emerging day-to-day basis. So with that, good things, bad things comes. So we have so many attacks, exploits, viruses, trojans, every day these things are coming into play. So as the things are getting complex, and more cyber threats are coming toward. So what cyber threats attacks are more aggressive, complex, and sophisticated. Could be disgruntled employee, crime rings, and nation state. They result in massive data exposure. So cyber threats like could be dealt with not only with some person like hacking from outside. It could be disgruntled employee as well, like some person inside the company who is unhappy with the company's policies. So he or she could become a threat for the company as. So whole idea behind this slide is, as we are getting new and new technologies, we are getting more and more threats. So if I take you to this website very quickly, and let me share that as well. Can you see, by the way, can you see this
Yes.
website?
Yes.
Yeah. So now you can imagine what is going on and what is happening. World's biggest data breaches and hacks. So this is a website, and the link is also in the presentation. And as you can see, how many breaches have been done from the Facebook.
Wow.
I don't know what this count is, but you can see record lost, phone numbers, full names, location, emails, addresses, and biographical information on 533 million users from 106 countries
So most likely your emails are already, names
being
are
hacked.
already there.
Exactly. So this is like, if you want, you can go a lot in detail, like Indian citizens. There are so many things. Brazil, this experience, Brazil, Twitter, from the Twitter, how much data is being stolen, and these. So these are like, the history and all information you can get from here. And by the way, this is in 2021. So I asked, what is CIA triad? So this is like the very important concept used in cybersecurity, the CIA triad, or three legs as well. It's also known as the three-leg concept. So it is like confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And what confidentiality is, like ensure no unauthorized party has access to the information. So like in your computer, do you want some outside intruder gain the access of your computer and get the access of all your photos, videos, and these all things? So the most important part in CIA is confidentiality. So you want to secure everything. For example, the privacy solution is what? Encryption. And we know, if we familiar a little bit about the VPN, one of the most important part that is discussed in VPN is confidentiality. And the protocol that is used to perform the confidentiality are like AES, DES, and 3DES. And these are the protocols that are also being used in the VPN as well for the encryption purpose. Then we have integrity, as Christel said, that whatever the data that is, going across the cable. So somebody, intruder, get that data and make some changes. So he or she can make some changes into that. So we do not want that as well. So ensure that the information is not altered in storage or while in a transit. So the mechanism that is used for integrity are MD5 or SHA. If I give you very quickly example of this one from the website, how MD5 basically look like, you can go to any website and type like MD5 hashing. Then, for example, this is the MD5 hash generator. So basically what it will do, let's suppose I type some data like, hello, how are you? And click on a generate. Now you will see this is like the hash is generated against this text. This one, which is MD5 hash. Another format is SHA-1. So that is a little bit large because it's like, it uses a better block size as compared to MD5. And this one is much more secure as compared to MD5. So these are the hash generated against these just 1, 2, 3, 4 string value. Okay, so if I just copy this one and just to show you that, just a minute. And I have pasted this one. And if I'll just put dot at the end and generate, it means somebody has altered this data. If you cannot see this one, I just make it like this one. So I just put the dot, that's it. And you will see the effect here. This one has totally changed, by the way. Can you see the notepad?
Yes.
Yeah. So this one, when I type, how are you without dot? But you can see and notice that how, the things have changed in MD5 just by putting one dot. So these mechanisms are used, for the integrity of the data. So the data has not been changed in transit. Then we have the availability, and we are familiar what availability is. I mean, the information or the resource is available to the authorized person or the party when needed. So the example could be the load balance. For example, if one system is down, we have another system already in a place. So we have the data always available there. So these things are known as a CIA triad. Then let's talk about the defense in depth, also known as DID. So the challenge is there are so many threats and no single application can effectively manage these threats. Hence, layered approach is used to mitigate such issues. As you can see in the diagram, we have the data because this is the thing we want to secure all the time. So then we have this layered approach. We have application security on top of data, then we have host security, then we have network security best practices like hardening the switches, routers, then we have parameter security, like it is, if you have a very good visuals, it is mentioned like VLAN segmentations, IPS firewalls. Then we have this physical security Basically, just like the lockers, we have could be CCTV cams, logs, then non-technical layer, which has to do with the policy planning and training. So we have like the layered approach, just to do what? Just to secure our data. So that is the thing is known as defense in depth. So just it's giving the definition. Defense in depth is use variety of methods to secure an organization. Likewise, firewall, we will use like firewalls, packet sniffer, packet shapers, and spam filter, and IPS, IDS, sensors, and so many things, just to protect our data. Then we'll talk about the threat classification. So basically we have mainly two threats. One is internal and one is external. Internal, I have already talked about the threats that come from your own organization. And these are the most dangerous. Sometimes people think that external threats are dangerous. No, the threats that are coming from our own organization are more dangerous. Why? Because people have a knowledge about that. What servers you are using, what kind of application you are using. You can just plug even the USB drive into some others employee having some kind of viruses in that. So internal threats are more dangerous and you can deploy it easily. While the external threats, we know the threats that are coming from outside. Could be like denial of services or spam, something like that. So the potential threats are like hackers. We have white hat hackers, we have gray hat hackers, and black hat hackers. And from the name, it suggests like black hat, something is invisible. Means people, those are just doing some bad things, are known as a black hat hackers. White hat hackers, basically organization hire or third party people do outsource as well. Organizations do outsource as well for the white hat hackers, and they will come to your organization and your GM or CEO will brief him about whatever the device is being used in your network, and then he will run some kind of applications that usually these hackers they use to just check whether the devices that are running in the organization are secure or no. So those are people are good, known as a white hat hackers. Then we have a in between gray hat hackers that comes in white hat as well as in the black hat as well. Like in the morning, they are doing a good jobs, but at night, who knows that they are doing black hat kind of things. Then the term that often used script kiddies. This could be even me, this could be you, or this could be any person who even does not have any knowledge about the hacking. So what these guys do, they will download third-party softwares, okay, third-party applications or some scripts, and they will run just to attack the appliances or hardware or devices. So these are known as the script kiddies. Then we have disgruntled employee, as I have already mentioned, that if some person in the organization is not happy, so he could also be a potential threat for an organization. So let's talk about these viruses, Trojan horses, a little in detail. So what is virus? A computer virus is a type of malware that propagates by inserting a copy of itself into and becoming a part of another program. So as the virus, enters inside the computer, it just spread itself, just creating the multiple copies and copies and copies into the system. So it spread from one computer to another computer as well. So you might be familiar if one computer is infected and you just plug some USB device or external hard disk device, you will notice that that will also be corrupted. So that, which is because of this virus, because it has a nature of spreading automatically. So leaving infectious as it travels. Virus can range in severity from causing mildly annoying effects, damaging data or software, causing, for example, like the denial of service conditions as well. So of course, if in computer, if virus has attacked some of your files or application, of course, you will not be able to use those softwares application. So it kind of denial of service as condition as well. Then ransomware, as the HEFA said correctly, that ransomware is a type of malicious software that threatens to publish the victim's data or perpetually block access to unless ransom is paid. So ransomware is what, and I have been the victim of this ransomware as well. I had so many images, applications, and videos, application softwares were in my computer. So once this ransomware attacked my computer, for example, if the image is there, let's say the image name is 123.jpg, and the one video file name is like video.mp4 or .avi. So what this ransomware will do, it will just do the encryption, which is the strongest one. It will do the encryption and will encrypt this whole image or the file into something like garbage x123 dot some with some extension. Even if you try to change this extension to JPEG, it won't work. When you'll try to open this file, you will get a kind of, a pop-up. It's mentioned that if you want to recover this file, you have to pay using this Bitcoin, something like that. And usually these people, they use dark web. And dark web, as the name suggests, just like www. Okay, this is another thing, like you will use a Tor browser to or with the help of some VPN services. If this service is blocked, then you will use Tor or in combination of the VPN to access this dark web, and you can access, some hidden websites.
And this is where people do all this, when they they steal something, they want to sell it now. That's where the dark web websites are there to do this kind of transaction between each other. Very scary stuff, but that is how they are making money right now.
Exactly. And that is the reason ransomware attacks, if you want to pay, you will have to pay from dark web using Bitcoin or whatever the method they have defined.
If I'm not mistaken, the dark web is different than the deep web, and the deep web is where
exactly both are same.
Happen.
No, these are same things. Yeah, deep web, dark web.
But the
like
dark web is not always. It's not always negative things. Sometimes
no, it is not. No.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Well, most of the time, it's kind of like it is negative, but yeah, in some places, because look, if it's a government that you want to hide yourself from, but you're doing a good stuff, like good cause type of thing, right? Then yeah, people do use it for that purposes too, because then you don't want to be tracked by them. So yes, it can be used that way.
Yeah. So even if you want, you can put your web server on the dark web as well, if you want. Even the botnets, most of the botnets and these all script kitties. This in earlier slide, I talked about the script kitties. You can download.
I just want to verify. One other thing is that I think what Hefa was asking. Deep web is kind of like the what do you call it? Like the umbrella of that. So dark web would be like a part of it. So it's not like it's a part of it, but it's not the same thing. Yeah, it's like a big, you can say a term. So
Okay.
there are many other terminologies under deep web, because that's a pretty, that's the whole dark side of it, basically.
It's like a broad terminology.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you pay from dark web to this ransomware person, they are not going to communicate with you. Okay, so they are just making you fool with that. Then we have this Trojan. As I mentioned, it's a harmful piece of software that looks legitimate. Users are typically tricked into loading and executing it on their system. For example, popping up windows, changing desktop, deleting files, something like that. So it will appear as a pop-up on your web browser or somewhere. And like, sometime they ask you, there is a virus in your computer. So this is a free software, just download it. And basically that that application is having these harmful Trojans as well. So you are not only installing that software, but also these Trojans as well. Then we have bots, and we do remember we talked about zombies and bots in a denial of services, as well as the DDoS. So basically in DDoS, it's most of the time we use these bots. So what are these? These are like, as mentioned, the word derived from the word robot, and is automated process that interacts with other network services. Bots often automate tasks and provide information or service that would otherwise be conducted by human being. A typical use of bot is to gather information. So this is the typical use, gathering the information. Other than that,
also it's being used in a normal kind of like a web crawler type of bots, where you have Google, and let's say we have job skill share website. Google will have kind of a crawler bots. So they do is indexing your website. So you have a new content, you put it on a website. There's going to be different bots from Yahoo, from Microsoft, from Google, from so many other big and there are just normal bots out there that will just gather information, put it on the web. And so for that reason, you would have a better structural approach when you're building a website. So then it's not always bots running on your website, right? So if you don't want too much of that kind of traffic, then you can make some kind of structure on your website to tell the bot that this is my data, this is how I want to give it to you, and this is how you should get it. So a lot of people confuses these two with this, and other bots are just what it's used for. Like they would have network bots that try to look for information for malicious purposes.
Yeah. Then this slide continues, and we have APT, advanced persistent threats. And I do remember I discussed this in earlier slides as well. So it's a set of stealthy and continuous computer hacking process, often orchestrated by a person targeting a specific entity. And APT usually targets either private organizations, states, or both of the business political motives. So if you are familiar, you can search out about the Stuxnet as well. Just a minute, Stuxnet. This is kind of APT threat that deployed in Iranian.
Oh, I was just gonna say, is this the one that disarmed the Iranian? What was
exactly.
it?
Yeah. That was Iranian a power plant, I think, or this is what's called for
nuclear. I think.
Nuclear.
I think
nuclear
it disarmed the nuclear reactor.
Exactly. So that was a nuclear plant, and these APT were like installed a kind of rootkit as a rootkit. And what rootkit is, like if you are going to install some kind of hardware in your computer, like a hard disk, VGA card or something, they will they will penetrate this rootkit into that, so they can check the activities, everything. So that was the Stuxnet as a virus or the rootkit installed in those nuclear plants, their appliances basically. And that basically made that hardware devices, like they heat up those devices and then cool down, heat up and cool down, something like that. And it was like a fault, and they had to shut down that plant for the time being. So this is like advanced persistent threat. Then we have an adware, as the name suggests. It's like kind of advertisement, like software that generates revenue for its developer by automatically generating online advertisement. So it will also like making you fool into thinking that this is something like legitimate website or something like that. But once you will go there, it will be something else, and you will end up by downloading some kind of malicious softwares. Then we have a backdoors, an undocumented way of accessing a system. Of course, it will not be documented, by the way. So what hackers they will do, for example, we do remember in Microsoft Word, we had one icon which is mentioned macro, basically used to automate the thing. So these hackers, they took the benefit of this macro, and they they penetrated these kind of viruses as a backdoor. So once they will run this macro, maybe some port behind the scene will be open. Let's say like telnet port, before it was closed, but now telnet port is open with just by running this macro. So now this backdoor is open, and the hacker basically can take the benefit of this backdoor and can access the system. Then we have these DOS and DDoS attacks, malicious attempts by one or more people to cause the victim site or node deny services to its customer. And I have already talked about this as well. So let's talk about the IDS and IPS. So what are the benefits of using IDS and IPS? These are basically the hardware appliances. This is known as intrusion detection and intrusion preventions. So benefits of using IDS and IPS are this is a sensor monitor unusual suspicious activities. So whatever the suspicious activities are approaching this device, it will just keep monitoring those. It will perform analysis to identify violations, incidents, and possible attempt attacks. IDS and IPS could be host or network based, which will send logs to the centralized log repository machine for SOC team to analyze. So IDS will detect and generate log, while IPS will prevent the attack. So what basically it is saying, sometime we have network based IDS, and in the next slide, it is basically, I'm going to give you a little more detail, but just as an overview, as mentioned, there is a host base as well. If I give you host based example of IDS or IPS, just like we have antivirus, any kind of antivirus installed, it is a host based, means whatever the information that is being generated from your own machine, it will very quickly get the idea or will sense about that suspicious activities and will block. While on other hand, we have the network based. The network based not only for the particular host, but it will be like in between device. And then we have multiple LAN host. And let's say this is IDS or IPS sensor device installed, which is connected with the router. And then router is connected with some ISP, let's say. So whatever the information as that coming in or going outside, this is the responsibility of IDS or IPS to sense or to monitor. But sometimes, as it is mentioned, the IDS will only detect about these logs, means it will not take any kind of action like IPS will do. So IPS is a complete, solution. It will not only detect, but prevent from those attacks as well. But in case of IDS, the what possibility could be? IDS sensor will just sense those issues. For example, there are some multiple issues arrived. And then this IDS then will be connected with some kind of firewall. So these logs will be sent to the firewall, and then firewall will have kind of database or the signature kind of things. So it will keep update and will prevent those logs. So this is known as like the centralized log repository machine. Identify incidents could be, so what incidents it will handle? It will handle this IPS or IDS, like Trojans, denial of service attacks. We have active and passive attacks as well, SQL injections, then cross-site scripting as well, reconnaissance attacks. This is also another name of social engineering, by the way, social engineering. Then we have insider attacks and unauthorized logins as well. So the possibility is some person inside the organization, there is another PC. So this person is trying to access this system because this person is sitting inside the organization and he has very good knowledge about this system. So once he or she will try to access this system, the log will be generated into IPS device, and system admin can get those logs and will take the action. So as I mentioned in earlier slide as well, this is host-based intrusion detection and this is network-based intrusion detection. So host-based monitor only single host, network-based monitor whole network. Since IDS is on the host, operating system work much faster. And of course, if this host-based intrusion detection is on this system itself, it will work much more faster than this one, which is network-based IDS system. Because the action will be taken directly on this host machine. While if this host machine is being attacked, then first it will go to this IDS machine, first of all, then it will take the action. And maybe then we have thousands and thousands of devices connected. And this single host network-based IDS system is taking care of these all devices. So you just can imagine the impact.
Yeah, and so for we use, like currently in the modern world, you have everything kind of separate solution. For network, you gotta have a network solution in place. For endpoints, you're gonna have that network taking care of the network side, but on one endpoint is gonna be some kind of agents running on it, whether
Exactly.
it's connected to the network again to do something, or maybe a cloud solution. For example, we already talked about Cisco AMP protection. Remember last lecture we talked about Windows Defender solution these days. So it goes to the cloud now. So if people are, because these people may have a very knowledgeable or experts sitting out there doing this kind of stuff, so then this will lower the stress of a normal network engineer, because you may be working for a company and hey, am I going to really do some kind of analysis now and try to understand what's going on, or should we go for some product that they already have a very solid team out there and they can do these things for them? So this is a mixed environment these days. So we have both now, network, we have endpoints, we have even cloud protection these days. So
Yeah.
you use everything together to kind of counter different attacks and protections out there.
Yeah. So what Danish said, if I give you example and you can take it as an assignment as well, which is known as IBM QRadar. So basically what happens in our IBM QRadar, we have like thousands and thousands of devices. So the agent, which Danish just talked about, the agent will be installed on every host machine. And then we have, let's say this is the IBM hardware appliance here. Okay, so its functionality is just collecting those data from the agents. So agents are basically just like a host-based intrusion prevention systems. Basically, they are just getting those logs or pulling those logs and sending it to the this main device, which will take the action. So you can further read on IBM QRadar how it works, and then you will have a better understanding about these agents. And then we have signature-based ideas, and we are familiar that if we talk, even if in your computer, if you go to like if, for example, Norton antivirus or some another kind of antivirus install, you will see they have kind of database that is sitting outside in the cloud. Okay, it will have kind of signatures, every virus that comes have a signature. So basically when the data comes inside your host machine or any device, your antivirus basically going to match the pattern against these signatures. If it is fine, it will be sent into the quarantine, or maybe it will be deleted. So they have like these kind of database and multiple these signatures. So that's why, this is a very good practice. Every time you log in, you need to go into the antivirus software and just update the application or that signature database either automatically or forcefully. So it will resync with the latest updates of the signature databases. So if any kind of new virus, Trojan, or malware will hit your computer device, it will just check from the pattern. If the pattern is matched, this will be blocked, the virus will be blocked or will be deleted. So as mentioned that Cisco-based IDS appliances primarily use signature-based IDS. As the traffic passes through, it detects a pattern, but it should be resynced with the databases. Signature engine, the parser read all the test description of the signature, looks for a malicious activities in a network stream. So IDS use signature database with several signature engines. So it has multiple signature engines that it will pull the data from. Then we have monitoring and analysis. Of course, some person required to check the monitoring or analysis for whatever is happening in the IPS or IDS. It means the human interaction is also required. Although IPS or IDS will do it automatically, everything will be done. But of course, we need kind of human interaction to check what is going on, what are the logs. Maybe sometime one thing is known as false positive. False positive. Like maybe IDS is thinking that that is a virus, but that is not basically. That is something else that is being used in our network as well. So that thing is known as a false positive. So that thing is like basically you can capture from monitoring and doing monitoring and analysis. Basically, which has multiple logs. You can go through those logs one by one, or you can filter out those logs and then you can find out whatever that you are looking for. So basically what is saying, IDS and IPS are constantly gathering data. So the network administrator has a lot of tools to manage all the data, like generating using IPS, IDS. reporting via SDD, which is Security Device Event Exchange. Basically, that is, it's mentioned here. While SD is a protocol, basically it is a protocol that sends message between the security devices and monitoring systems. So we have this security device here. Let's say ASA firewall. Then we have one kind of, let's say, IDS, intrusion detection system. Or could be some monitoring device, monitoring system. Like one of very famous is like Alerta, which I will show you. So the Alerta will generate the logs and will send those data to who? The ASA to take some action. So that thing which will perform these things like coming back and forth, these information is done using STEE protocol. Then gathering via syslogs. Of course, the syslog itself is it's a protocol that will gather all the logs information. If we talk about, if you are familiar with the Nagios, then we have a SolarWinds as well.
Yeah, and then SolarWind is very famous when it comes to logs and stuff like that, because the company is used for that type of work, like monitoring, management, things like that, and other tools too, because it depends on how deep you have to work on this type of work in your environment. But I can guarantee you that you have to use some type of tools in network engineering jobs, like the logs, syslogs, whether you use SolarWinds. You have to know how to go back to the logs. It's just that you will get stuck so many times in your career, like at firewall level, or maybe something normal. People just can't get into something because there's something going on, but you have to know the answer, right? You have to get, okay, somebody's doing this one thing, somebody's trying to log into somewhere, but they're not able to do it. And another security person says, oh, you know what? I'm not blocking this from a, let's say, filter level. I'm not blocking that on my firewall. And then you'll be like scratching your head. Okay, now I need to get back to the logs. Okay, I need to know why from first connection to the last action. I want to see what happens. And that is where you need to know these tools like SolarWinds or things like that nature. So it's very important, by the way.
And by the way, these syslogs, even in a Cisco router switches, easily you can, if you enable debug with the debug command, these syslogs will be generated and you can take a look. And I hope in this session, we are gonna do that as well. I will show you how debugs look like. And then we have analysis via SIEM. That is also a very good term and interview question as well. They ask what is SIEM, which is stand for Security Information and Event Management System, which I talked about earlier, like IBM QRadar. That is a device for security information and event management. So whatever the event or logs will be generated will be sent to this IBM QRadar for a deep inspection. So it's mentioned how things work. First, IDS will generate an alarm when an attack signature is triggered. Then alarm will stored and can be examined locally or using some other applications, which I'm going to show later, which could be like ZLAN. For example, your local firewalls logs, you can view your logs using ZLAN. Then we have Splunk as well. Okay, so these are third-party applications. After an attack signature fires, the device can send syslog message using SDE, which I have already mentioned.